Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thrilled a bit to be here, and more importantly, to be sitting alongside Professor Ori Soltes. I've learnt a number of things. One, he's a left-hander. Two, he's a mad Yankee supporter. We will not hold anything against him. I want to know, Professor, first of all, welcome to Melbourne.
Thank you.
It's a very different part of Australia.
Different from what? Sydney or Adelaide or Brisbane or Perth?
Sydney
Which is
happens
different.
to be in the northern states of this world, we call Australia. We look at them kind of funny. They look at us as a bunch of Mexicans. They think, what's going on down here in that place called Melbourne? But we're thrilled to have you here. I believe you're off to Sydney and some more exotic locales like Canberra. I believe even... You're traumatised by that concept, aren't you? Wait till I get him to go to Brisbane, which is like,
That's in the Arctic, isn't it?
the Miami,
Yeah. Oh,
Australia.
the Antarctic.
Through the mind that you won't want to go to Brisbane. But quite seriously, you've got some wonderful opportunities coming up. I'm here to tell everyone that the professor was very keen to go to Perth because he still believes, like so many other Australians, that it is part of Australia. But as we've found out through the COVID pandemic, they've, decided to secede, and their premiers, doesn't think that we're part of that world. But the world that we're living in tonight, here at Deakin University, this very special campus, I want to start off by saying to you, you've written 2 books on Fethullah Gülen.
Yes.
Why Fethullah Gülen? Why come back a second time? And why the title so clearly put up there, between thought and action? So where do we go? Where do we start?
So I think Fethullah Gülen is a very important individual, both because of how he thinks and because of how he inspires, has inspired, inspires, will inspire others to think and to act. I'll come back to that in a moment. And whereas the first book that I wrote on him 7 or 8 years ago dealt primarily with his thinking and the breadth, some of the breadth of it, such that his thought relates all the way back to Socrates and all the way forward to Einstein and in between to people like Ibn Arabi and Rumi and people like Said Nursi and so on and so forth. That's what the primary focus was. This second book actually grew out of a New Yorker article that a friend showed me that came at the end of the summer of 2016 in the aftermath of the July 15 event, the fake coup that was being referred to as a failed coup. And the article that a friend of mine showed me was rather negative about Gülen, and I thought, this could have been written by Mr. Erdogan himself or his media. The very respected journalist had clearly not done his homework, had not tried to find out anything except what he could find out from the Erdogan-controlled Turkish media, and I thought there needed to be something that offered a kind of pushback against that false reality that was being expressed in that article. Because I realized that in general terms, those people who were aware of Fethullah Gülen at that point were mainly being aware of him through that kind of media, and there needed to be a pushback against that. So the book was written with that in mind. Thought and action, because one of the defining features of Fethullah Gülen and what he has preached and taught for lo these many decades is that it's very important to think, but it's also important not simply to think, but to act on what you think about, and not simply to think. Thought without action is kind of useless, just as action without thought is dangerous. So you need both, and your thought should lead to action that of the sort that is useful to the world, to helping the world. And one of the words that he uses, or the English equivalent of that word, is altruism, that you do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you're expecting some return on the investment of your actions. The return is that you're doing the right thing. So that sort of in a nutshell is what this
Why
book
two
is.
books?
Yeah.